Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Belmont Radio Theatre for tonight's special broadcast of the classic Christmas story, Scrooge. Since our first sellout performance in 2019, the production team and cast have been hard at work improving and fine-tuning to bring you what I know is going to be a truly unique experience. Once again, there will be opportunities throughout the performance for you, our dear audience, to play your part. So before we get underway, I think a very short rehearsal is in order. So can we start with a big... Excellent. And one of these.
Aww.
Even better. And finally, an ooh.
Oh.
Wonderful. So I'm now being told that we're almost ready to go live. So can I please ask for complete silence in the studio? And before we do, may I finally wish you all a most enjoyable evening. So we are on air in 3, 2,
Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatsoever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was considered good for any piece of business he chose to put his hands to. Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge and Marley had been partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole friend, and the only man who mourned him. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterward, above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. It was bitterly cold, and the fog was thick as pea soup on that Christmas Eve of 1843, when Scrooge sat busy in his counting house, with his clerk nearby trying to warm himself at a candle. But since he didn't have much of imagination, he failed.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle.
What?
I said a Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah, humbug.
Christmas, a humbug. Uncle, surely you don't mean that.
Of course I mean it. Merry Christmas indeed. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Uncle, what reason have you to be dismal? You're rich enough.
Bah! Away with Christmas. What's Christmas to you but a time of paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart, he should.
Uncle.
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. A lot of good it has done you.
Well, there are many things for which I've benefited, even if they don't show a profit, dare say. Christmas among the rest. But if anything belonging to Christmas can be considered apart from the sacred source of its name and origin, I am sure. I've always thought of Christmas as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time of year I know of when men and women seem by one consent to open up their shut-up hearts freely and think of others as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never cut a scrap of silver or gold in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
Another sound out of you and you'll keep Christmas by losing your position.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come and dine with us tomorrow.
I'll see myself in hell first.
But why, Uncle?
Why? Why? Let me ask you a question. Why did you get married recently?
Because I fell in love, of course.
Aww. Love? You fell in love? Ha! Good afternoon, nephew.
You never came to see me before I married. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask of you, why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry to find you so resolute. We've never had a quarrel, you and I, but I came all this way to give you greetings of the season, and I'll keep my Christmas honour to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Bob Cratchit.
Oh, thank you, sir. A Merry Christmas to you too.
There's another fellow, my clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family talking about Merry Christmas. Bah! Get away from here. I didn't ask you to be bothering me with this noise. You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose, Cratchit?
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient. It's not fair. If I was to hold back half a crown for it, you'd think you were being abused, no doubt. And yet, you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wage for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have it. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Oh, yes, sir, I will. I certainly shall.
Oh, Scrooge. He was a tight-fisted man at the grindstone he was. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, to be sure. Secret, self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. He carried his own low temperature with him everywhere he went. Scrooge always took his melancholy dinner in the same melancholy tavern, and this night was no different. He read all the papers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book before he took himself home to bed. He lived in the chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms. It was old and dreary, for nobody lived in it but Scrooge, the other rooms all being let out as offices. Upon arriving in his chambers, Scrooge took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown, slippers, and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel, for he had a cold in his head. It was a very low fire indeed, nothing on such a bitter night. He was obliged to sit close to it and brood over it before he could extract the least sensation of warmth from such a handful of fuel. Scrooge was eating a meagre bowl of gruel. He heard a noise which became faster and louder, more insistent. It stopped just as suddenly, leaving Scrooge momentarily frozen. He went back to his gruel, mumbling. We hear the sound of heavy chains being dragged across the floor. Scrooge looked up, spooked.
Scrooge! Scrooge!
Humbug! I won't believe it!
Marley enters slowly, a greyish-white figure bound in cash boxes and thick ledgers on oversized chains secured with huge padlocks.
How's this? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
All right. Who were you?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Ah!
Mercy! Dreadful apparition! Why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why have you come to me?
It is required of every man that his spirit should walk among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit does not go forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death, and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared, and turn to happiness. Oh, woe is me!
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, yard by yard, and wore it of my own free will. Is the pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was as long and heavy as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have laboured on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Jacob, old friend, please, speak me comfort.
I have none to give. I have little time. I cannot rest. I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never walked beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole. Oh, not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life opportunity misused. Yet such was I! Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Humankind was my business. Common welfare was my business. Charity, money, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. Oh, why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light could have conducted me? Hear me! My time is nearly done.
I will, Jacob, but don't be hard on me.
I'm here to warn you. You have a chance of escaping my fate, a chance I have procured for you, Ebenezer.
You always were a good friend, thank you.
You'll be visited by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance you mentioned?
It is.
Oh, well then, I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shin the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1.
Can't they all come at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Expect the second on the next night at the same hour, the third upon the next night, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and for your sake, take care that you remember what has passed between us.
Oh, humbug!
And so Scrooge lay in his bed and thought and thought and thought it over and could make nothing of it. The more he thought, the more perplexed he was, and the more he endeavoured not to think, the more he thought. Marley's spirit bothered him exceedingly. Every time he resolved within himself that it was all a dream, his mind flew back again, like a strong spring released to its first position, and presented the same problem to be worked all through.
Was it a dream then? 1/4 past. 1/2 past. 1/4 to it. Ha! The hour itself, and nothing else.
Pleased with himself, he got back into bed. A figure emerges and takes position at the head of Scrooge's bed.
Scrooge!
Ah!
His head swiveled left, as of its own accord. He sees the spirit, a striking female figure with bright flowing hair in a white robe, bedecked tastefully with summer flowers and a silver sash. Her expression is bright, full of life and hope. She holds a branch of green holly, and a bright light accompanies her.
Are you the spirit whose coming I was told about?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the spirit of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
Perhaps you could turn down that light accompanying you.
What? Would you so soon put out the light that I give? Yours are the dark passions that would extinguish the light of truth.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend. What brings you here?
Your welfare, of course.
Well, I can't think of anything more conducive to my welfare than a night of uninterrupted sleep.
Your reformation, then. Take heed. Rise and walk with me.
The spirit takes hold of Scrooge's arm. He rises and walks with her into a winter scene.
Good heavens! I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
What? No, nothing. Nothing. It must be a pimple. Lead me where you would, spirit.
Do you remember the way, Ebenezer?
Remember it. I could walk it blindfolded.
Strange that you've forgotten it for so many years.
A small group of boys can be seen running, laughing, jostling, joking, celebrating holiday from school. They stop and huddle. Scrooge looks on, wide-eyed.
Why, that's David Masterson and Robert Estes. Hello.
These are merely shadows of the things that have been. They are not aware of us.
They see a small boy sitting at a small school desk. He's reading a book. He looks so sad. Scrooge notices him.
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
Poor boy. My mother dies giving birth to my sister. My father grew morose and seemed to begrudge us both ever after. I wish, but it's too late now.
What is it?
It's nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. I should have liked to have given him something, that's all.
Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas past are watching Scrooge's sister, Fan, who had come to take him home from this dreadful school. Fan tells Scrooge that his father was now a kinder man and wanted Scrooge to be at home for Christmas, where the family could be together and have the merriest of time in all the world. Scrooge was to be apprenticed to a wonderful man called Mr. Fezziwig, who kept a warehouse. Fan died a young woman, but left a child, Scrooge's nephew, Fred.
Do you know this place?
Know it? This is where I was apprenticed. Look, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart. Fezziwig alive again? And there, Dick Wilkins. We were the best of friends.
Fezziwig loved Christmas. He believed life was too short for all work and no play. He loved merriment, and he was, such a generous man. And so loved and admired.
It's such a small thing to make these silly people feel so much gratitude and joy.
Small thing?
Is it not? After all, what did he do, this Fezziwig? Spent a few pounds on a party? Does he deserve such praise as this?
It isn't that, Spirit. Why, Mr. Fezziwig has the power to make us happy or unhappy. He can make our work pleasant or miserable, just in the way he looks at us and the way he addresses us. 1,000 such little things add up, until the happiness he gives is as great as if it cost a fortune. And...
What is it?
Nothing.
Something, I think.
No, it's just that I would like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk, Cratchit, just now, that's all.
Come, Ebenezer, my time grows short. Look.
This was not addressed to Scrooge, or to anyone whom he could see, but it produced an immediate effect. For again Scrooge saw himself. He was a little older now, a man in the prime of his life. His face had not the harsh, rigid lines of later years, but it had begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. There was an anger, greedy, restless motion in the eye, which showed the passion that had taken root, and where the shadow of the growing tree would fall. Picture the scene of Scrooge as he looks upon his Belle, who is weeping, a handkerchief to her face.
I know it matters very little to you. Another idol has displaced me. And if it can make you as happy as I would have tried to, I've got no reason to cry.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
Now, there's a double standard for you. All the world speaks so vehemently against poverty, yet it condemns the pursuit of wealth just as harshly.
You fear the world too much, Ebenezer. All your other hopes have merged into the one hope of eluding the disdain of others. I've seen your nobler virtues fall away, one by one, until nothing is left but one master passion, the pursuit of profit. It consumes you.
What then? Given I have grown wiser and more astute, I haven't changed my feelings towards you.
Oh, Ebenezer, our promise to one another is an old one. We made it when we were young and poor, and happy to remain so until we could improve our fortune together by patience and hard work. But you've changed. You are not the same man. Tell me, Ebenezer, if all of this had not happened, would you seek me out and try to win me now, a poor, dowerless girl with nothing to bring to a marriage? Just as I thought. You may feel sad now, Ebenezer, but I've no doubt that you will dismiss the thought of me very soon, as if you were glad to have awakened from a bad dream. May you be happy in the life that you've chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you enjoy torturing me? Please, I beg you, take me away from here. I can bear no more. No more.
After this mighty struggle, if that can be called a struggle, Scrooge was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness, and further, of being in his own bedroom once again. He barely had time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep. He woke himself from a prodigiously tough snore, sat up in bed. He looks around, expecting another ghost. Just as he goes to lie down again, he hears...
Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Scrooge alights from bed. The spirit is seated on a throne upon a platform lit with 1,000 lights, bedecked with mistletoe and heaped with a feast fit for a king. He is an impressive figure in full beard, wearing a green robe trimmed in white fur and crowned with a holly wreath. He holds a golden torch in his hand, which is filled with stardust.
Come here and know me better, man. I am the spirit of Christmas present. You have never seen the likes of me before, eh? Ha 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 ha.
No, never.
You've never walked forth with any of my elder brothers born in these later years.
No, I don't think I have. Have you many brothers, Spirit?
Ha ha! More than 1,800. Ha 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 ha.
A tremendous family to provide for.
Take hold of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Where, pray tell, are we going?
You will see.
Scrooge reaches out nervously and touches the robe. Picture a great happy bustle of chattering people, greeting each other with good-natured market haggling. Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas present make their way among the crowd. The spirit sprinkles stardust on those who pass by.
Is there a peculiar flavour in what you're sprinkling from your torch?
There is indeed my own.
Would it apply to any kind of dinner on this day?
To any kindly given, to a poor one most.
Why to a poor one most?
Because it needs it most.
Spirit, why do you, of all beings in the many worlds about us, decide to cramp these people's opportunities of innocent enjoyment?
I?
Well, you would deprive them of their means of dining every 7th day, when the markets are closed, often the only day on which they can be said to dine at all, wouldn't you? You seek to close these places on the 7th day, and it comes to the same thing.
I seek.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. It has been done in your name, or at least in that of your family.
There are some upon this earth of yours who claim to know us, and who do their deeds of passion, pride, ill will, hatred, envy, bigotry, and selfishness in our name, who are as strange to us, and all our kith and kin as if they have never lived. Remember that, and charge their doing on themselves, not us.
Look yonder and see the Cratchit family are preparing for Christmas Day. The children, Martha, Belinda, and the two younger Cratchits are feeling the excitement of the day. Mr. Cratchit and their younger son, Tom, who is crippled, arrive home from church.
And did little Tim behave himself at church?
Oh, he did. As good as gold and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much and thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me coming home that he hoped the people saw him in church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. But he's growing stronger every day. I just know it.
Mr. Cratchit, help me with the goose.
Hooray!
There's such a goose, such as we've never had before.
Mrs. Cratchit re-enters in high procession with a small goose on a platter, followed in parade by Martha, the two younger Cratchits. It is placed on the table and all are seated.
Just smell the sage and onion. You have outdone yourself this year. A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
God bless us.
I had no idea Cratchit had a crippled son.
I wonder why.
Tell me, Spirit, will the boy live?
I see a vacant seat at this table and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, that cannot be. Say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him here. What difference does it make? If he is likely to die, then let him die and decrease the surplus population.
You use my own words against me.
Yes. So that is in the future, perhaps you will hold your tongue until you have discovered what the surplus population is and where it is. Who are you to decide who shall live and who shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child. And now, dear ones, a toast. I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of our feast.
The founder of our feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and hope he had a good appetite for it.
My dear, the children. It's Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, when one would drink the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Ebenezer Scrooge. No one knows it better than you, Bob.
My dear, have a little charity.
All right, then. I'll drink his health, for your sake and the day's sake, but not for his. Long live life to him. A very Merry Christmas and an Happy New Year. I've no doubt he'll be very merry indeed and very happy.
To Mr. Scrooge. I think it's time for a song.
Oh, what shall we sing?
Imagine a small crowd at a party on Christmas Day. They're singing Good King Wenceslas. After that, they dance. They're all holding drinks. Scrooge and the spirit of Christmas present enters to behold the scene.
He said that Christmas was a humbug. He believed it too.
More shame for him, Fred.
He's really a comical old fellow, and not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offences carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred. At least you always tell me so.
But his wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do anything with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it. And I sincerely doubt he would ever consider benefiting us with it.
Well, I have no pity for him.
Oh, but I have. Suffers by his ill whims. Himself, always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? He loses some pleasant moments, which could do him no harm. I mean, to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not. I think I might have cracked the old boy yesterday, if I do say so myself. He's given us plenty of merriment, I'm sure, and it would be ungrateful not to drink to his health. Here's to Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge!
I would normally take offence at such tasteless banter and laughter at my expense. However, in view of the general gaiety of the occasion, I'm inclined to overlook it.
That is quite noble of you.
Forgive me, Spirit, if I am not justified in asking, but I see something strange and not belonging to yourself protruding there from your skirts. Is it a foot or a claw?
It might be a claw for all the flesh there is on it. Look here.
The Spirit draws aside the folds of his robe to disclose want and ignorance. Two thin, dirty, wretched, scowling waifs crouched and clutching at his feet.
Spirit, are they yours?
No, they are yours. Do you not know them? This boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware them both and all of their kind, but most of all beware this boy. For on his brow I see written the word doom, unless the writing be erased. I dare ye to deny it. I dare ye to slander those who claim otherwise, and see where it leads.
Have they no refuge or resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Suddenly, the chime of 12 is heard. Scrooge is standing dazed. There is the sound of wind and thunder. The spirit of Christmas present has disappeared, and in his place approaches the spirit of Christmas yet to come in the fog. It is a tall figure, entirely cloaked and hooded in black. All that we will see of this figure are its bony hands.
I take it I'm in the presence of the spirit of Christmas yet to come? You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that not so, Spirit? Spirit, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. Will you not speak to me?
The spirit of Christmas yet to come lifts its arm and points beyond Scrooge. Scrooge sees that he is powerless to engage it.
Very well. Lead on then. The night is passing fast, and it is precious time to me. Lead on, Spirit.
A band of brokers appear to be in deep discussion.
Why, I know these men, and this place. It's the stock exchange. It's a second home to me.
No, I don't know anything about it. Either way, I only know he's dead. But when did he die? Last night, I believe. Why, what was the matter with him? I thought he'd never die. Oh, God knows. What has he done with his money? I haven't heard. Left it with his company, perhaps. I only know he hasn't left it to me. Well, it's likely to be a cheap funeral. I don't know anybody who would go to it. Suppose we make up a party and volunteer? Oh, I don't mind going if a lunch is provided, but I must be fed for all the trouble it's worth. Well, it matters little to me anyway. I never wear black gloves and I never eat lunch. But I'll offer to go if anyone else will. Well, off to business. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Scrooge looks up at the spirit of Christmas yet to come, perplexed. wondering why these men had no sense of decency or decorum.
Spirit, something tells me that the moment of our parting is at hand. I know it, but I don't know how. Tell me, the man who was spoken of, the man who died, tell me who it was.
The spirit of Christmas yet to come points to a gravestone.
Before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be? Or are they the shadows of things that may be only? The course of a man's life, if persevered in, will determine certain ends. I accept it. But if he departs from those courses, the ends must surely change. Say it is so, with what you show me.
Scrooge creeps towards the stone, trembling. Seeing the name inscribed there, he falls to his knees.
No, it can't be. Am I that man? Am I the man who died, whom no one mourned? Say it isn't so, Spirit. Say it isn't so. Spirit, hear me. Am I not the man I was? I will not be the man I must have been, but for your intervention. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Surely your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I may yet change these shadows you have shown me by a changed life. I will honour Christmas in my heart and try to keep it there all year. I will remember the lessons of the past. I will live in the present. I will live towards the future. Tell me, Spirit, all three will strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons they teach. Tell me that I may sponge away the writing on the stone.
Scrooge grasps the spirit's hand, grabs at the robe, pleading, crying, pulling the figure down into a pile of black as he pleads. We're in Scrooge's bedroom at night as before. He's waking from a sob. The chimes are tolling 8.
What? Where am I? Wait, what day is this? It's morning, but what day? How long have I been with the spirits? I don't know. I'm still alive. I'm alive. They are still here and not torn down. They are here and I am here. Woohoo! I don't know what to do. I feel light as a feather, happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy.
He runs to his window looking out. A boy appears. He is the same boy who attempted to sing to Scrooge at the counting house.
Hello! Hello, you boy! What day is it?
The boy, seeing Scrooge, makes to turn and run.
Wait, don't be afraid, my boy. What day is it?
What day is it?
Yes! What day is it today?
Well, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day? Are you quite sure, my good fellow?
I should say I am.
Then the spirits have done it all in one night. Why, of course, they can do anything they like. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello.
Do you know the butcher's in the street but one at the corner?
Nope, I did.
That's a wonderful boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold that prize turkey that was hanging up there?
What, the big one? The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy, a pleasure talking to him. Yes, my buck, the one as big as you.
It's hanging there now.
Is it? Why, then you must go and buy it. Yes, go and buy it now.
Police!
No, I really do mean it. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it round so I can give them directions for where to deliver it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He won't know I've sent it. I won't tell him. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Oh, Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim will live. On my soul, Tiny Tim will live. They did it all in one night. The spirits of Christmas past, present and future shall strive within me. Oh, heaven and Christmas time has be praised for this. I say it on my knees, dear Lord, on my knees. A Merry Christmas to everybody and a Happy New Year to all the world.
Would you believe it if I told you that Scrooge went to church that day? He did, and walked about the streets, and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted children on the head as they passed, and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything at all could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house.
Oh, Fred, it's beautiful. Oh, and it's too much. Oh, you shouldn't have spent so much.
But I love you, my dear, and my wife shall have the best on Christmas Day.
Oh, Fred, I love you so, but not just for this.
I know, my dear, I know.
Aww. Now, who can this be?
I don't know. No one's expected at this hour.
Fred answers the door and he reappears walking backwards with Scrooge.
Fred!
Uncle Scrooge!
The very same. It is I, your Uncle Scrooge. I recall an invitation you made me yesterday to come and dine with you. If that invitation is still in force, I should like to accept it.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Well, you could say, bah, humbug. A retort I heartily repent and shall never use again. Or you could say, come in.
Come in? Of course you shall come in. Hurrah, Uncle Scrooge. You have made us both very happy. Oh, may I introduce my wife, Janet? Janet, my Uncle Scrooge.
My dear, it's plain to me now why my nephew chose you among women. You are indeed every bit as lovely as I have heard.
Why, thank you, Uncle Scrooge. We're very happy to have you here.
I'm sorry for things I've said about Christmas, and sorry for the poor reception I gave you yesterday, of which you were so undeserving. I see the image of my sister in your face. I loved her, you know, and she loved you.
I know it, Uncle Scrooge. She loved you very much and wished until her dying day that she should always be so close.
Aww. And so we are, Fred, and so we shall be. We shall be.
We're back in Scrooge's counting house. It's the day after Christmas and Scrooge is sitting at his desk with a mischievous smile on his face, humming to himself as he works.
What is this?
Morning, sir.
Mr. Cratchit, you are late, sir.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
Step this way, if you please, Mr. Cratchit.
Oh, it's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday with my family.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm going to make a stand, and I'm going to stand for this no longer. And therefore, I'm going to double your salary. Yes, Bob Cratchit. I'm going to double your salary, sir. A Merry Christmas to you. A merrier Christmas than I have given you for many years. And from now on, I will endeavour to assist your family in any way I can. And as for Tiny Tim, he will walk again. I know it. Now, you needn't say a thing. Come with me. We will discuss the particulars over a bowl of smoking bishop before you've done so much as dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good as man as the good old city knew. And ever afterward, it was always said of Ebenezer Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas and keep it well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us everyone.